and please take out the chart that has Uranus in the 9th house with Virgo 145 as rising. We're going to look at that nonsense. And we're going to put in the, we're going to complete the aspectarian. Because that's what I asked you to do last week. I asked you to finish that and to also finish the chart that had Jupiter at the cusp of the 10th house, well, close to the cusp of the 10th house with Gemini rising. So there are two charts we're going to look at today. And I should have done this before, so I apologize. Or maybe I can write it in. Okay, so looking at all of the calculations that you made, is there a aspect between the sun and the moon? No.
No.
Is there an aspect between the sun and Mercury?
No.
What's the first aspect that the sun makes to which planet?
Saturn.
Yeah, and what is that?
Conjunct.
It makes a conjunct aspect. Yeah, well, okay. The next aspect that the sun makes is to
Uranus.
Pluto. The next aspect that it makes is to Pluto. And what aspect is that?
Semi-sextile.
A semi-sextile. What's the orb of a semi-sextile?
30 degrees.
30
Oh,
degrees.
orb is-
Ah,
the orb is
okay.
30 degrees.
And
Angle.
is that aspect applying or separating?
That one's applying.
Okay, it's applying if it's smaller than the perfect orb and going to perfect. So this one happens to be an applying aspect. It does happen to be an applying aspect. So its strength is only going to get greater. Does it make an aspect to the midheaven?
Yes,
And that is a
square.
square. Ooh, boy, did that look good. Let's make this better because I wasn't looking. That makes a square. And the next aspect that it makes, does it make an aspect to the ascendant?
Yes,
And that aspect is
opposition.
an opposition. Okay. Remember, oppositions also always talk about choice, either or. And each time these issues come up, you have a choice. So it's not a choice that's written in stone and that's the only choice you can have. You can choose something either time. Okay, now let's look at the moon. What aspect did you find with the moon? What's the first aspect you found with the moon and Mercury? Is there an aspect between moon and Mercury?
Opposition.
Yep, it's an opposition, another opposition. Dumbbells. Okay, what's the next aspect you found between Mercury and what other planet? Oh, come on. Just,
Between the moon.
yeah, the moon and yeah, thank you. See, I knew you were, thank you so much for being here, Rodney. I was, anyhow, go on. So what's the next between the moon and what planet?
I found Saturn.
Yeah, I found Saturn too. And what was it?
Conjunction.
A conjunction? The moon and Saturn? Look at it again. So here's the moon. Come on. Here's the moon. Damn. Okay, here's the moon. And here's Saturn. just looking at where they are, 12th and 6th houses. It can't be a conjunction.
What?
It's another opposition.
Ah, I know why I messed that up, because the sheet you gave us that had the applying and separating aspects,
Uh-huh.
you told us to ignore that, but not to ignore the text, which said less than 188 degrees, and it's 195.
Uh-huh. Okay. Yep. So that gives it 185 degree, a 15-degree orb. But because it's the moon, you can have a wider orb. What's the next aspect between the moon and this is an applying aspect as well.
I found Uranus
Uh-huh.
and a square.
It is a square. And it is another applying aspect.
You know, Vanessa, I'm beginning to think Rodney's a ringer.
Yeah, and
No,
I
I
thank
worked hard on
him
it.
every week. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Actually, you know, Rodney is already a pretty is a master card reader, and he's learning our system. And I think he might be appreciating the cooperation of astrology with the tarot as he's learning more about both. I don't know. Are you?
Yes,
Yeah.
I took this class so I could better understand the sacred tarot.
Uh-huh. And what do you think of astrology now?
Quite
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, the sacred tarot tells you something right now. But astrology is more long-term. It can tell you something right now as well. However, it also demands more of you, a little bit more of you, astrology does, intellectually. So let's look at now, does the moon make an aspect to Neptune? Anybody else but Rodney? It does. It makes something called a sesqui-square. And that's has an orb of 135. This happens to be, the orb is less than 135. So it's approaching perfect. This is another applying aspect. And our program also, you know, the horoscope 2020 from the Church of Light also tells you whether or not the aspect is applying or separating. If it's not applying, it's separating.
Isn't the orb too wide on that though? Between Neptune and the moon?
No, let me look at my
6 degrees and 21 degrees?
for Neptune and the moon. Let me look at my no, it's not too wide. Remember, the moon can get has a greater orb. Remember, when you're looking at that, you're looking at a
That's
larger
like a
orb.
15-degree orb though. Isn't it?
Well, after we're finished tonight, I'm going to send you the charts that were done using the horoscope program so that you can see different things, because there's another relationship that I haven't spoken about yet that I do want to cover tonight. And it's called mutual reception. And those things are indicated in horoscope 2020 as well. So let's look at Moon and Pluto. What do we have there? It's another opposition.
Opposition, I was gonna say, yes.
Okay, and the moon doesn't make any other aspects
Easy
to
one.
the midheaven or the ascendant. So now, Venus,
Um,
what did you get from Venus? What's the first aspect that Venus makes?
Are we skipping Mercury?
We've already done that,
No,
so we
did
don't
the
have to
moon.
worry. Oh, you're right. Thank you. That's what, yes. Now we're doing Mercury, not Venus. We're doing Mercury. So what's the first aspect that Mercury makes? It made an aspect to the moon because we have it here, Mercury and moon. But now we're looking at Mercury. Does it make an aspect to Venus? It doesn't make an aspect to Mars. It makes an aspect to Jupiter. And what is that aspect?
Semi-sextile,
It's a semi-square, 45 degrees.
or semi-square.
And that's an aspect of irritation. It's like that pebble in your shoe. It just annoys the hell out of you. And so what we're talking about, to communicating ideas about Jupiter, and Jupiter expanding communication, because that's what Jupiter does. Jupiter's generous, it expands. So we have an aspect of irritation here. Does Jupiter make an aspect to, what's the next aspect that Jupiter makes? So here we have Jupiter up here. Jupiter here in the 7th house. The 7th house is what kind of house?
Angular,
It's an angular house. And so because it's an angular house, the orbs are a little wider. We have 11 degrees here. Would that be considered conjunct?
yes.
Yeah. So Jupiter and Neptune make an aspect of conjunction in an angular house. How about to Pluto?
Except you wrote that for Mercury and Neptune.
Yeah. What am I saying? Oh, I'm sorry. Mercury and Neptune make an aspect. Oh, thank you. You're right. Duh. Oh boy, somebody do. Okay, I'm going to regroup. Okay, Mercury.
Those jelly
Next
beans
aspect.
will get you every time, Vanessa.
Yeah, sure will. Mercury to Pluto is the conjunct. Where's Mercury? You can see that. It's only a 3-degree orb right here. 27, it's at the end of Virgo going into Aquarius. That's a 3-degree orb. So we're going to, that's a conjunct. How about to the midheaven? Mercury is in Aquarius. And the midheaven is at the end of Taurus, getting ready to go where?
To Gemini,
Into Gemini. So how many, how many degrees before it gets to Gemini? Before it gets to 0 Gemini?
two,
2.
two,
So that's a trine. A
Yeah.
sex, you know, that's a trine.
because they're both air signs.
Well,
It'll be-
that's Taurus at the top. So it's not an air
Two-
sign,
2
but it's
degrees.
within the 2-degree. You are right. This is an example of where the degrees are positioned, that two elements that don't necessarily form a trine aspect will form a trine aspect because of the orb. So Aquarius and Taurus are both fixed signs, but because of the position that they're in right now, because it's getting ready to go into Gemini, it's only 2 degrees away from perfect with Mercury. This is a trine. Mercury is trine the midheaven. So there's lots of talking going on here in the public. You wouldn't expect Taurus and Aquarius to form a trine, but because of where they are positioned, they do. Now, what happens between Mercury and the midheaven? It's 151 degrees apart. 150-degree aspect is an inconjunct. Now we're going to do Venus. See, I'm trying to use 2 pointers at the same time. That's why I'm getting all of this nonsense here. Now we're going to do Venus. We're doing that line. Okay. So the first aspect that Venus makes. Okay. Does Venus make an aspect to Mars?
It's conjunct.
Yeah?
It's conjunct.
Okay. Explain, please.
Venus and Mars? Well,
Venus
because
and Mars,
they're the exact same degree.
they're the exact same degree. So it
That's
makes a conjunct.
parallel?
You're absolutely right. A conjunct.
Isn't parallel when they're exact?
Parallel is
No,
declination.
parallel, when we talk about parallels or contra parallels, when we look at the declinations.
Oh,
See that
okay.
little box on the side of the wheel?
Yeah, uh-huh.
That's what we use in order to determine whether or not something is parallel.
Oh, okay.
Does Venus make an aspect to Jupiter?
Like so within 5 degrees.
It's a 5-degree orb. What kind of sign is, what element is the sign of Jupiter, of Venus?
It's a succeedant.
Oh no, what element?
Oh, is the 5th house? Or no,
Yeah,
it's Earth.
It is the 5th
It's an
house.
Earth
It is
sign.
a succeeding house. But what element of the sign is Venus in?
It's in an Earth sign.
It's
In
in an Earth
Capricorn.
sign. And what element is Jupiter in?
Water.
Okay, and water and Earth tend to get along, and they form a
A
sextile.
sextile. With a
And
5-degree
that
orb.
is with a 5-degree orb. That's right. Oh boy, I'm writing like I'm drunk.
I
Let's
could
look.
do this class for like a year. This is really confusing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And you know, there may be more opportunities for you to do something like that. Let's look now at. We want to look at Venus and Saturn. What kind of aspect are they making?
Semi-sextile.
A semi-sextile? How many degrees for a semi-sextile?
30.
Okay. So do we have, how many degrees of a difference is it? You get a semi-sextile when you're at the next sign. So a Capricorn would be semi-sextile, Sagittarius or Aquarius. So it has a 2-degree orb. Is that within orb for a succeeding house?
Yes.
Semi-sextile, yes.
Yes, it is. So we're going to give this thing a semi-sextile. How about Uranus? Are they in the same element? Uranus
Yes.
and Venus. Okay.
Yeah.
So what aspect do we consider when they're in the same element?
Try.
Are they a
A
trine?
trine, yes. Okay. Could it very easily be a trine? Looking at the orb. Could it be an
Yes.
Got a
orb? in
4-degree orb.
Yeah, so that's
For
what it
sure.
is. It is a trine.
Kitty cat.
How about Venus to Uranus? Oh, we just did that. Venus to Neptune. What kind of aspect are we looking at?
Sextile?
We're looking at a sextile, right? Okay, is it within orb?
Yes.
Okay.
60. Yeah.
See, so after a while, you start looking at things differently. You increase your accuracy when you do all the math.
My,
And you do the math when you can't look at it right out and determine whether or not these things are in orb.
Mm.
Yeah.
can I ask you? Oh,
Yes.
sorry. I just wanted to confirm, like, when you were talking about the sextile here and you're calculating it, which house do you look to make the
Determination.
yeah.
Okay, you look at the house of the planet that you're working on. So we're working on Venus right now. Venus is in a succeeding house. So we're just gonna, even though the other planets might be in different houses, we're just gonna look at the orb for Venus in a succeeding house, because
Okay.
that's where Venus is. We are considering the aspects for Venus. So we look at a succeeding house numbers in order to determine what the orb is. Okay, let's look at the moon, just because I picked it. The moon is in what kind of house?
Cadent house.
The moon is in a cadent house. So all of the aspects to the moon use the cadent house orbs for the moon. What kind of house is Uranus in?
Also, Caden.
It's also a cadent house. So we look at, because we are assessing the aspects for Uranus, we would look at all of the orbs for a cadent house for Uranus. Mars is in what kind of house?
Succeedant.
Succeedant. So when we go to Mars next, we're only going to consider the orbs for succeedant houses, because we are looking at the aspects to Mars. If you look on the bottom of that aspect sheet that I've given you, it says aspects are calculated using the shortest distance between planets and never in contrary direction from that usually followed by planets as they move through the zodiac. So when you, and then also look at this aspectarian. That's this nonsense here. When you, in order to make sure that you get every orb done, you go in an orderly fashion. So first you find all of the aspects to the sun. You don't have to find the aspect of the moon to the sun because you did that already. Then you find all the aspects to the moon, starting with Mercury. Then you find all the aspects to Mercury, starting with Venus, because Venus follows Mercury. And you only look at the orbs that are appropriate for the position of Mercury. Mercury in this chart is in a succeeding house, so we'd only look at succeeding houses. Any other questions? Do you have an aspectarian? Do you have something like this? Did I forward this chart to you, the aspectarian? I might not have.
Well, the chart one you sent us doesn't have the vertical line or the diagonal line in the
Okay.
grayed boxes, but chart 2 has the diagonal
Oh,
line,
yeah.
but not the grayed boxes.
Oh,
Okay. Well,
No.
so take a straight edge and draw a diagonal line on the one that doesn't have a diagonal line. And because by the time you get down to Venus, you have already done all of the aspects for Venus up to Mars. So that's where you start again. So here we have Venus, the aspects to Venus go like this, from Sun, Moon, Mercury, and then to Mars. Aspects to the Moon go like this, starting here with the Moon and then down its line and across. You've already done the aspects to the Moon from the Sun when you determined the aspects, when you identified the aspects to the Sun. Am I making sense? Okay.
yeah, sure.
How? Okay, Chaya, how to ask? What can I do to help? You're muted, baby.
Oh, sorry. I don't know. I probably have to go back and watch. I'm totally lost. I mean, not totally lost, just kind of lost.
Okay.
I mean, I got the math down. I just can't. I just don't really know what I'm doing, honestly. I don't know why I can't get this.
It takes a little bit extra, and you have to play with it some.
Okay.
I'm going to give you the rest of the aspects for this, so that we can look at another chart, another form, and start doing something else, doing a little bit of delineation. Okay, so we're continuing with the aspects to Venus. Venus last makes a sesqui-square to the ascendant, and that's this one. That's 135-degree orb. Mars first makes a sextile to Saturn, and that's, what do you think? I want you to think about what that aspect is, whether or not that is a nice thing to have, or it's contrary. It makes a semi-sextile to Saturn, a sextile to Neptune, and another sesqui-square to the ascendant. Jupiter makes no aspect to Saturn, but it does make a trine to Uranus. It makes a semi-square to Pluto, and it is in opposition to the ascendant. I'm going to fill these things in. And please bear with my whoops, that's nothing. That's just a slip. No, that's wrong. Oh, fart. Okay. So here's what chart one was. Chart one was the chart, whoops, was the chart for Valentine's Day. The one that the chart that we were just using was the chart for Valentine's Day. And in a minute, I'm going to show you the whole thing. For Valentine's Day that just passed, in Durham, North Carolina, because that's where I am. It's just going to take me a couple of minutes to put all of the things that I want you to see when we do this chart. And then I will share my screen. And we want Astrodyne and needle Astrodyne summary. Okay, let's get a new share screen. Okay, here we go. Here's the chart. And here are the aspects. And I had planned to send this to you anyhow. So this is part of what you look at when you are, this is what you get when you're using Horoscope 2020. All of the boxes that are green show applying aspects. Those are aspects that are approaching perfect. So you see Saturn with its square. Pluto is a semi-sextile. Midheaven is square. The ascendant is opposite the moon. Those are all of the first, this top row are all of the aspects to the sun. I'm sorry, to the sun. The second row are all of the aspects to the moon. The third row, Mercury. Now, how do they delineate it? The boxes in between are all are gray. And then you see these lines underneath. Those are the parallels. So Mars is parallel the moon. It lends some intensity to both planets. That's what a parallel does. It brings things out. It makes something more vivid. This MR talks about mutual reception. And mutual reception is when two planets are in cooperating signs. So Mercury is in this chart, Mercury is in Aquarius, and Saturn is in Aquarius. Well, why do you say that they're in mutual reception? Well, both planets are agreeable. Mercury is exalted in Aquarius, and Saturn is one of the rulers of Aquarius. So these two planets have an easier time talking to each other than others would. And they're in each other's corner, so to speak. Mutual reception is a mutual admiration society. That's what mutual reception, and I will send you the information for that. So let's go up here. Let's go up here to to Mercury and go over to Saturn. And that's the only relationship they have. So they help each other. So this relationship would assist in bringing discipline to communication about having fun and in workplace. Why do I say having fun? Fifth house, what's the fifth house about? Also, had discipline in dealing with children, discipline in dealing with the arts. These are the things of the fifth house. And talking about this, communication with this, developing something, because that's what you do when you talk about something. Saturn is the planet of discipline. And it's a razor discipline with Aquarius. Aquarius wants it right. I want it exact. Now, it might start to make more sense. We're just going to look at the chart right now. And what I want you to do here is we're going to control this. I'm gonna give you another share. And we're looking at that okay, I think I know what I have to, I was trying to do this before, but it didn't work. So I want to show two windows at the same time. Okay, do you see you see that form that has an ordered approach at the top? And you see the chart?
Yeah.
Okay, so are any planets retrograde in this chart? And retrograde is indicated by an R. So there are no R's anyplace. That nothing, everything was going forward on Valentine's Day this year. In order to determine whether or not something is stationary, you need to look in an ephemeris. So although the program makes calculation easy, it doesn't reduce the need for having an ephemeris of some sort. But now we want to look at the planets east, west, and north and south. So how many planets are in the east? Just one.
One.
And is that planet north or south? And this is wrong. It should be the other way around. South should be up here, north should be up here.
Is south.
It is in the south, right? Okay, thank you. Redo ordered approach. Okay, so we have one planet here. How many planets do we have? And this should be this. Okay, how many planets do we have in the north on the west side?
Oh,
There's
six?
three.
Just three, right? Okay. How many planets do we have on in the south on the west side? How many planets do we have in the north on the west side?
Yeah.
6. Okay. So what kind of overall impression does that give you about this chart? This is from 101. A. This is from the first class that you took. What's an overall impression? Is this person a molder of circumstances, or does this person it adapts to the circumstances that come its way?
He adapts with,
Yeah.
and below the horizon is it unseen or the unrecognized
Right.
parts?
Yep. Unseen and unrecognized. That's so that there's one overall. Okay, now let's look at how many planets are in angular houses.
Two.
Mm-hmm. How many planets in succeeding houses?
Four.
Uh-huh. And
Two.
how many in cadent?
4.
4. So is this person an in-your-face kind of person? Or if this were a person, would this be an in-your-face kind of person?
I'd say not.
Yeah.
No.
And it appears as though there's a kind of balance between very laid back and being persistent.
Vanessa?
Because,
question.
huh?
I have a question.
Sure.
When you're counting the number of planets and houses, do you not count the midheaven and the ascendant?
Mhm. No,
Mhm, you do or mhm, you don't?
you don't.
Okay.
You get, when you get down to the elements, then you might look at it a little differently.
Okay.
Okay, how many personal? Where are the personal houses? What are the personal houses?
12 through 3. So there's
12 through 3. How many personal how many personal positions?
1.
Okay. How many companionship positions?
8.
Look at it again.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8.
8. Yeah. Okay, and well, since there are only 10 planets, how many public?
1.
1. So this is a persistent person who likes to be around people, is not necessarily recognized for the generosity. Now let's look at life, wealth, association, and psychism. What are the life houses?
1, 5, and 9.
Okay, how many planets there?
4, 5.
How about wealth?
6.
2nd, 6th, 6th,
Mhm.
and 10th.
Association.
And the 3rd, 7th, and 11th. And it's only 2.
And psychism.
4th, 8th, and 12th.
Yep. Okay, so and this is an ordered, this is the ordered approach that is recommended by Zane. And certainly you would get the similar documentation if you looked at the program. Now we want to look at movable, fixed, and mutable. How many movable planets or cardinal planets?
I think there's 4.
Where do
Cardinal,
you where you get 4?
because the planets in Capricorn and the planet in Taurus.
Taurus is a mutable sign. A fixed sign.
Oh, mutable. Okay, so 3.
3. And now how about fixed?
Well, there's the Taurus, because you just gave me that. The Leo,
Uh-huh.
so 2.
Look again.
Yeah. 5.
5. Mercury, Saturn, Sun, Uranus, and the Moon.
Oh, because Aquarius. Okay.
And so then what's left?
Mutable.
And there are 2 of them. Whoops. Let's undo. Okay. So now we want to look at fire, earth, air, and water. How many fire?
1. Leo.
Right, the Moon. How many earth?
3.
Look again.
Oh, 4 because of Taurus.
How many air?
3. 2.
And how many water?
2.
Okay. Degree of emanation. You see, you're looking at all of the generalities first, because they bring a broader picture to the chart. Remember the first degree of, do you remember the degrees of emanation?
It's from the first house to the fourth house.
Nope. Degree of emanation has to do with the signs.
Aries through Cancer.
Aries through Cancer, right. So do we have any with in the first degree of emanation?
Yes,
Taurus?
Uranus.
Okay, we have Uranus is in the first degree of emanation. How about the second degree of emanation?
One, just
One.
the moon.
The moon, right? And everybody else is in the third degree of emanation. So we've got 8. So what's another insight into the personality of this chart? Looking at the degree of emanation.
Doesn't it mean that they're concerned with what other people think?
Right. Okay,
Or
now,
reserved, maybe reserved.
oh, and I just disappeared that for you. Like, let me. Where did it go? Where did it go? Damn it. Okay, I'm gonna find this thing. Okay, you see it again?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Now we're looking at the astrogynes, and that's this thing here. And it's not sorted in any order. It's just it's sorted according to the way the planets appear. So we're looking in the first column here, and we're looking for the most powerful planet. And what's the most powerful planet? Which is the greater number? What's the most powerful planet in
The
this list?
MC for the planets is the MC.
MC, and that stands for
Midheaven.
Midheaven, right.
This is no planet.
So what's important to this? What would be important to this personality? What's the strongest volume coming from the planets in this personality? It's coming from the midheaven. It's the top of the chart. It's in the public eye. So that's the public is important in this kind of chart. Now look at the last column. The last column is going to give you both harmony and discord. Harmony is a positive number. The discord is a negative number. Which is the most harmonious planet?
Jupiter.
Jupiter. And which is the most discordant?
Ascendant.
Mars?
Look again.
Uh,
The
Oh,
most
moon.
important would be the
Mercury?
ascendant.
The ascendant. Look at the second group.
we're looking at the negative number?
The negative number shows the discordant,
Sorry.
and the positive number shows the harmonious. And
Gotcha.
I got to get that chart again. There we go. So now, how about the house? We're doing the same thing for the house. What's the most powerful house?
Fifth.
The fifth.
The
10th?
fifth house.
Oh, the fifth.
Uh-huh. Which is perfect for, I told you this is Valentine's Day. Anyhow. And the most harmonious house,
The 7th?
the 7th, and the most discordant house.
Well,
12th?
Uh-huh. And now do the same thing for the signs.
I can't see all the
Okay,
signs.
yeah, that's cutting off.
Okay, let me,
Capricorn.
can you see them now?
No, not all of them.
Can you
Yeah,
see it
they're
now?
all there.
Okay.
Capricorn's the
Yeah. Most harmonious sign,
Pisces?
Yeah, Pisces,
No,
No?
no.
the most harmonious.
Oh, yes, you're right, you're right. I'm sorry. And the most discordant.
is Leo.
Leo.
Okay. So this is all information that you take when you're looking at the chart again and reading the signs. Leo is positioned, what planet is positioned in Leo?
The moon?
The moon. And so it's getting a lot of, it's getting some discord. It's the most discordant sign in the chart. So this tells you something else. This gives you another generality. Okay, now. Okay, I'm gonna drive myself crazy again too, because I have to move all of these things out of the way so that you can see the chart again. Oh, and by the way, everything that we just did, it can is done by looking at the natal astrodyne summary. Do you see that? That's the box that I'm moving around in a circle. Okay, so here we talked about personal, companionship, and public, which is the most powerful companionship. And did we not find that when we were doing that form? The is life, and we found that as well.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
are you going to will you send that that you just took away, that we were doing the long chart?
Yeah, I'm going to send you the form, and I want you to do it again.
Thank you. Okay.
But I'm going to send you a blank form. I'm not going to send you the completed form. I
Right.
will eventually send you the completed form, but not now.
Okay.
Because I want you to practice. That's the only way you're going to do this, is by practice.
Yeah, that's what I wanted it for.
Uh-huh. Okay. So which one are we doing? Which is this? Okay. So what I want to do now, and I just disappeared it again. Okay. What I want to do now is I want to look at the houses. What's the ruler of the first house?
Mercury.
Mhm.
Mercury.
And where is Mercury?
Oh, Mercury
Oh.
in
The
Ah,
fifth
The
house.
first house.
Mercury
where
is
is
not
it?
in the first house.
Mercury's in the fifth.
Mhm. Okay, and the ruler of the second house?
Same.
Mhm.
Mercury.
Okay.
How apropos for,
It's
Well-
Venus is the second house.
the third house. What's the ruler of the third house? And where is Venus positioned?
Venus is in the fifth.
The fourth house?
Scorpio.
Yeah, but what's
There's
the,
Mars and Pluto.
Mars and Pluto.
uh-huh. There's a hot time in the house tonight,
Oh, they're in the fifth house.
and it's still in the fifth house. And the ruler of, however, does the fifth house have another influence? Look at this here. You see that? The fifth house is intercepted. So the fifth house also would have the influence of what
The
planet?
fourth house.
The fourth house, thank you. Would have an influence of what planet?
Super.
It is not as pronounced, but it's still going to be there. That's called an intercepted house. What's,
Can you explain that again? An intercepted house.
say that again?
Can you just quickly review what you just said about an intercepted house?
An intercepted house has two signs in the house. And the intercepted sign is not on the cusp of any house. It's totally within the realm of another sign.
And we see that because there's Capricorn and Aquarius in the fifth
No,
house.
no, we don't see that because it's Capricorn and Aquarius. We see that because it's just right here. Oh, yeah, and yes, and we don't see Saturn, what's this?
Sagittarius.
Sagittarius on the cusp of any house. So the cusp of the first house is Virgo, second Virgo, third Libra, fourth Scorpio, and then we skip Sagittarius altogether and we go to Capricorn.
Wow.
Yo,
And yeah, this takes a little while. And what's opposite Sagittarius, Gemini holds the same honor. It is intercepted. It is totally under the influence of another sun. It does not get to express, the sign does not get to express itself freely. It is repressed.
Vanessa, the house itself, that it would be more than 30 degrees wide, like it's a
Yes.
wider house.
Yes.
How does that impact, or
Mhm.
a bigger house, I guess?
But because although there are more degrees in that house, yes, the matters of those houses are going to be important. However, they're not going to be they're not going to be pronounced. They're going to be more close to the chest. Do you know?
Okay. I know
When I play cards, and when somebody tells me to breast my cards, they're telling me, I can see your cards, bring them closer to you. And so that I can't see them and I can't take advantage of your inner thoughts or inner whatevers. And that's what's happening in the fourth house with Sagittarius, in the 10th house with Gemini. These matters are going to be of concern, but as they relate to Sagittarius and Gemini issues, they will not be freely expressed. They will not be as readily expressed.
Okay.
Does that make more sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because the
Okay.
energy's coming in on the cusp more, like.
Correct. Yes. The
Okay.
energies from the cusp are louder, certainly.
Okay.
So Vanessa, shouldn't we also have Pluto for the fourth house?
Yes. Yes. So it's Mars, Pluto, and Jupiter. Now, fourth house is getting a lot of attention. And if we look up here, we see that, where was it? Yeah. We see that the most powerful planet is the midheaven, the 10th house. So it's getting a lot of attention and a lot of tourist attention. So we're looking at something that's a bit more practical, a bit more down to earth, talking about somewhat survival, but it's also, if we're talking the 10th house, the 10th house is ruled by what planet in this chart? Yes, Venus. And the ruler's house is
Would it be Venus and Mercury?
Mercury does have a secondary influence. Yes, you're right.
I'm a Gemini, so I just had to.
Of course. Of course.
Don't forget about Gemini.
The fifth house is ruled by
Saturn.
but look at everything else that fifth house has to contend with. So when you're reading the fifth house, you have to look at how Saturn is influencing all of the planets in that house. The sixth house is ruled by
Saturn and Uranus.
We're going to put Uranus first because that's the modern ruler. And it also happens to be in the 6th house. So there's going to be a good deal of discipline in the workplace.
So
Practical
since it has
discipline.
2 rulers, don't you put both houses? Because Uranus is in the 9th.
You're right. Yeah. So when you read this house, you're also going to have to look at the 9th house. What kind of ideas and philosophies would this person express?
Eccentric.
Yeah. Real eccentric?
Well, and they would be people that could like change their minds in the flash of an eye.
Really? What sign is it in?
Was in a cadent house, but it's Uranus is the like a
What sign
lightning.
is it in?
It's in Taurus.
Yeah. So
It's Earth.
Taurus is kind of, Taurus the bull. You get him angry, then he's going to run. I mean, this person might, I'd also look at the how this would influence Mars, because you did talk about a bull in the china shop, and that's appropriate. However, it is still a fixed sign, and it's an earth sign. So it would dampen somewhat the influence of Uranus. It would still be there. It would definitely still be there. And
But it might be
would
more like
seem-
embodying information.
Yeah. However, when it came out, it would seem more out of the blue than Uranus usually does, because Saturn is so steady. I mean, because Taurus is so steady.
Right. So unusual for Taurus, but not unusual for Uranus.
Correct. Correct. Seventh house. Is ruled by,
Neptune.
and it is in the 7th house. What's what's Venus's other ruler? I mean,
Jupiter,
Pisces.
Pisces, yeah. Yeah. And it's there too. Wow.
yep. So
So
you
that would
would
make for some crazy relationships.
absolutely, and could be a lot of them.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say an abundance of them.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Larger than life
Uh-huh.
relationships.
Uh-huh. And look at and if we're talking about relationships, where else do we have to look?
Maybe it's on a cruise ship
Could be. Yeah.
because of all the water.
In
Why
North
the hell
Carolina.
not? You never know. How about the 8th house?
There's some-
That's
Again,
Pisces too,
Pisces.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Neptune as well. The 9th house is ruled by
Jupiter.
Mars.
Mars.
Hmm.
We already did the 10th house. The 11th house is ruled by
The moon.
the moon. And the moon is in the 12th house. And the 12th house is ruled by,
Sun.
and the sun is in the,
Sixth
Yeah.
house.
6th house.
okay.
So, which
So
is-
now also look at the relationships here. The ruler of the 12th house is in its opposite house. And you would think, oh my God, how can this person live? However, this person has lots of stuff to work with. what a wonderful difficulty to have. To balance your vitality with your emotions, with your mentality. Because that's what we're gonna have to, you have to fight with kind of in this. They're not exactly, well, there is no, and there is no aspect between the sun and the moon, if you remember. This is simply another factor that you need to look at when you are delineating a horoscope. So now that you've got all of these generalities, now you can go back. Now you have to go back and start all over.
Wow.
And where would you start? In the first house. So what do you think this person would look like? How would this person present themselves?
All first house, Virgo.
Uh-huh.
Conservative.
You would think that they would be somewhat conservative. Where is Mercury?
Mercury's in the 5th house
Right?
in Aquarius.
Uh-huh.
But that's the 5th house. I get super confused. Because the 5th house is Leo, but also Mercury is in Aquarius.
No. Okay. Yeah, Leo is the natural ruler. However, what are the concerns of the 5th house?
Create personal creativity.
Right?
That love affairs and children.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Music, speculation.
Mm-hmm. So now remember, Mercury is certainly more conservative than Gemini in a sense because it's an earth sign, so it's more settled. It's just as quick, but it doesn't move the same way. So what's this person? The first house is how you present yourself to the world. It's the first impression that you give to people. What's this first impression going to be about?
That first impression is going to be concerned with like the public good, wouldn't it? Like, because it's Aquarius. I'm sorry, I'm getting confused again. I get confused all the time. Should I be thinking about the 5th house or should I be thinking about the sign that Mercury's in?
Both.
Because, well, that's interesting. So it would be the dynamic of personal creativity, and then for what's good for like the greater good.
Their intelligence.
That yes, intelligence. This person is going to definitely impress people with their intelligence. That's one of the first impressions that this person will give. Although this person is a relatively serious person because it's an earth sign, and earth signs are more serious, more stable, they're also going to impress people by being somebody who knows how to have a lot of fun. Probably going to be somebody who could demonstrate creativity. And then, as Jill said, has on a cruise ship with lots and lots of lovers.
I would think they like to throw parties, but like catered parties, ones that, they would have like people would want to come because there would be a lot of networking involved and powerful people and, and they're having the best food,
Maybe it's a yacht. Maybe it's a yacht. It's not a cruise ship.
Okay. Yeah, Chaya, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. Now, what is this? So that's just how you go about doing the whole thing. The other chart that I gave you was a chart of January 6, 2021. And what was that?
January 26th.
January 6th.
Oh, sorry. Oh, that was that uprising or something?
The insurrection. So I'll send you this, and when I do that, when I send you this form to fill out, and you look at that chart again, and I'll send you the complete chart with the astrodynes and the declinations and the aspects. Fill this out and then look at that chart again, and you can see everything. You can see the insurrection in the chart.
Vanessa,
Yeah.
how did you time that chart?
I forget where I looked online for something. I don't remember exactly where. The time for the chart that I used was 2:11 p.m. So that's when they first
When they showed up at the Capitol?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I was just
Mhm.
curious.
Yeah. Yes, because I did research that. I took a little while. It was a long time ago, and I majored in music when I went to school. So, I fried a lot of my synapses. And little details I don't remember, something like that. I could probably duplicate it, but I'd have to start from scratch. I don't remember what I should have written it down, and I will next time. But we're about at the end. We don't have much time left, and although I wanted to go through the next chart, we're not going to be able to do that. What I will be sending you next week are the information about mutual reception, this chart and ordered approach. I'm going to send you an aspectarian, and I'm going to send you the chart of a person, and the name of the person will not be revealed, and we're going to look at that person and see what we can discover by looking at the signs and all of the other stuff in there. So any questions?
I do have one question.
Okay, I'm going to stop the share so that I
Okay.
can see, so you can see everybody, and I can see you. How can I stop the share? Oh, poor woman, I'm just, how do I stop the share? Oh, there it goes. Got it. Okay, sorry.
Whoops.
Go on.
Oh, I'm just having a really difficult time putting all of this together.
Mhm.
And so, like, I know you
And you're
said
different
that-
from everybody else, how?
Oh, for sure. I'm just,
Okay, so I just want you to know, you're right on par. You're doing fine. You just have to practice. You have to keep looking at this. You have to get, you have to erect the chart of everybody you know, everybody you meet, and read the charts of all of those people in order for this to become more comfortable.
because I keep forgetting. Like, I'll remember 2 or 3 things, and then I'll be like, my brain just.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's why you have to just keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
And doing like this and the other. I had a copy of the other chart that we were just going through. And are you going to be
Yeah, I'm
posting
going to be
so we can
sending you
print
both
them?
of those charts. I'm going to be sending you the complete charts that
Okay.
include the aspects, the astrodynes, the natal astrodyne summary. What else is there? Oh. And the declinations. I'm going to send you all of that. I'm going to send you the complete chart. And this is what is generated using Horoscope 2020. And then you have, that book that I recommended that you make, that binder.
Mhm.
So you take this chart and you put it on one side of your table, and you take that binder and you put it on the other side. It might be a good idea at this point to put some tabs on the binder so that you know where to go to get whatever it is that you're looking for. And then just go back and forth, back and forth. Another book that I would recommend is anything by Lynn Palmer. She is also a member of the Church of Light. She's a hermetician. And she is a renowned astrologer. And she writes simply.
It just gets big really fast. It
Yep,
gets real big, real fast.
yep, yep.
Like the joke about how do you get into Carnegie Hall? I bet you Vanessa knows that joke.
Oh, I certainly do. Yeah, practice, practice,
Just practice.
more practice. So, we're done. We are done. Unless you have any more questions, yes, certainly I invite you to drop me an email.
I sent you an email, Vanessa, so if I
Today?
could just get that